We're leaving our boondocking spot in Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument this morning to drive to Kodachrome State Park.
There's our first little chimney. Yeah, they have these arrows here for the trail to kind of help you know where to go, because it's like a lot of climbing over these rocks.
Kodachrome Basin is a Utah state park. It has spectacular towering sandstone chimneys with lots of changing colors. The color contrast is what prompted the National Geographic Society in 1949, with consent from Kodak Film Corporation, to name the park Kodachrome. There are nearly 70 monolith spires, ranging from 6 to 170 feet in height. One of the most distinctive features in the park are the large columns of sedimentary rock that rise from the basin floor, known as sedimentary pipes. There are approximately 67 of these pipes identified in the basin and the area adjacent to the park.
We're on our second hike. And this is into Box Canyon, part of the hike. So this is Chimney Rock. It was named when they named the park because of the color of the rocks. We made it to our spot for the night. We were on a dirt road last night. It was like almost 30 miles to get back to town. And we ended up on another dirt road for tonight, but we didn't air down because it was only like maybe 6 miles. It wasn't very far to go. We are going to go do a Slot Canyon hike in the morning, and then we're going to head over to Bryce National Park, probably do the drive, and then get up the next morning and do 2 hikes that we want to do so that we can do those early in the morning. But you'll see this is a pretty neat little place. We've got dinner was leftover pizza on the grill, and that was good. It's a little chilly here. I think it's going to be like in the 40s tonight, so we may freeze. We probably have to turn the heater on. But see, the view down there is really nice. Good morning. We made it to the Willis Slot Canyon, and it felt like it was freezing last night, but it was really only 60s when we got up this morning, so not too bad, but we still have our sweatshirts on. This little creek, we're kind of going back and forth, and we just kind of got to the slot. This is like a really long hike if you do the whole loop, but we're just going to do a portion of it. And yeah, you can see behind me it's really pretty too. That's cool.
It gives a wide angle effect.
So we've crossed this creek, I feel like, a million times. And Chuck's gonna count on the way back. We just go back and forth. One spot we had to get our feet wet. Mine's not too bad because my shoes are a little bit thicker on the sole in the front than Chuck's. But this has been just an awesome hike. We're the only people at the trail. Came to the, I think it's called the Bull Gorge Bridge, and there's a car. You can see it's wedged down in between the slots, but I don't know how well the camera shows because the sun is hitting it at a weird angle. But this is a slot canyon. Oh my goodness, look at that. That's crazy. It's dry down there though. So there's a little hike here. Alright, so we started along the trail. You can see a little bit better now where there's the bridge, and then the car is dug down in the slot. Chuck kept going, but it was getting too, I felt like I was sliding. I'm scared of heights. And I wasn't sliding, but it felt like it, and it scared me, so I decided to stay here. We just finished that 4-mile hike into the slots and back, and so I feel like I did pretty good. It was super easy, but I think it's my favorite hike so far. Chuck still said Peekaboo was his favorite hike, even though he hated it because it was really hard. But yeah, so he kept going for a little bit. It's supposed to be a mile round trip, so half a mile's not too far, but I just don't like this where you're falling off the edge kind of thing. So this is as far as I'm going.
Now we're driving back to Grand Staircase Escalante National Monument in order to see this super cool arch that we heard was not to be missed, and it wasn't too far away from where we are.
So this arch is formed between the Henryville sandstone, 165 million years old, and the Dakota Formation at 95 million years old. So that's pretty cool. We got a short little hike to get up there. I love how you can see like the purple in the big arch. And you can see the little bitty arch over there. It says 150 feet tall. That you'd be amazed at how tall it is, but when it said you'd be amazed at how tall it was, I was expecting something kind of like shiprock. But Chuck said that's 800 feet tall. It would dwarf this. I'm trying to get the van with the arch in the background. Pretty cool. Welcome to Bryce Canyon Country.
Bryce Canyon National Park sits at 9,000 feet in elevation. This means you can get amazing views on a clear day across the horizon. The park is also famous for its largest collection of hoodoos in the world. The colors here are just absolutely stunning.
The shuttle. Alright, so this place is a bit of a zoo. We had to park across the street in the overflow parking because it's super, super crowded. We weren't expecting it to be this crowded on a Wednesday.
At the visitor center, the park ranger gave us advice on how best to tackle this park. She told us that there is a shuttle that runs from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. with extended hours to 8 p.m. in the midsummer. The shuttle covers this box area right here called the Bryce Amphitheater. If I go down here, you'll see when you enlarge this area, this is what the shuttle has stops, where you can see the little shuttle bus here. Those are the stops. And if I go farther down, you'll see here it's got the numbered stops that match the map. You'll also notice that it says during shuttle hours, vehicles 23 feet or longer are restricted from parking in this area. And it talks about the whole amphitheater and the visitor center. But at the visitor center, there is a parking lot across the street, so that's where we parked. The ranger said that there is no length restrictions on vehicles driving the main Southern Scenic Road. This is the road that goes all the way through the park from the visitor center. And if I scroll down, it continues going to the very end at Rainbow Point. We decided that today we would focus on the drive, which is outside of the shuttle box. As hiking goes, the ranger said that her favorite hike was the Bristlecone Loop. This is the high elevation hike with bristlecone pines and expansive vistas. It's at the very end of the scenic Southern Drive.
So we're on the Bristlecone Loop Trail, and this is the bristlecone tree. I think she said it was 1,600 years old, and she said it would look kind of dead and kind of scraggly, but it's still pretty cool. Yeah. Oh wow, I didn't even look over here. This is beautiful. Doing chorizo egg wraps on the grill. And we found this awesome spot. We thought it was going to be like insanely hard to find a spot tonight because it was so crowded today at Bryce National Park. And we're maybe 2 miles outside the park entrance, if that.
Yep.
And we've got a fire pit. So we're going to try to do s'mores tonight with a fire. And we've got a Starlink set up over here. And this is just awesome. Yeah, 70 degrees. I think that's chilly for me. But it's not, the wind's not raging like it was earlier. So without the wind, 70's not bad in the sun. But yeah, this is just like a killer camp spot. I don't know if it has a number. This is just first campsite number 15. So we've had 2 people drive by down this like really rutted out dirt road, but you could still do it on a 2-wheel drive. But they were looking for spots, and we didn't get here super early. I mean, I think it was probably like 5:30 when we got here and got things set up. So we kind of figured everybody was ahead of us, but that's good. So tomorrow we're going to do 2 hikes combined to make a loop, and use the shuttle to go see the other stops that the shuttle goes to in the park. We had no idea it was going to be this crowded. I can't even imagine in the middle of summer how crowded this would be. Had an awesome dinner. Chuck grilled chorizo egg wraps. I think I showed you earlier. And it was really, really good. And we just had our first s'mores, but the chocolate was in the refrigerator and it wasn't super melty or soft, so it didn't really get good and melty. So we're kind of trying to let our chocolate warm up before we do our next set of s'mores. But they were really good. And it's just nice. We just had like an awesome day. The hike this morning was just one of my favorites. And we just found this awesome camp spot, which we thought was going to be so hard because Bryce was a zoo. And having our first fire and first s'mores of the trip. So pretty exciting.
This morning we head back into the park in order to do one of the rangers' favorite hikes, Queens Navajo Combination Loop. This is supposed to be a really amazing hike, and it's the most recommended hike in the park. I also said it was important to go clockwise because a lot of people on all trails had recommended counterclockwise, but she said they had a lot of people who would cut the corners going counterclockwise and twist their ankles, and then the rangers would have to go rescue them.
We're at the Sunrise Trail to start the Queen Loop hike, and it ends at Sunset Point. Isn't this beautiful? We're going to be hiking down in through all of that, I guess. Wow, how beautiful is this? Look, there's the trail down there that we're going to be going on. Super, super cool. This is like beautiful. Here's the trail. You can see it's pretty wide. Alright, so we made it a little ways down the trail. And, oh, go ahead. Thank you. And it's just beautiful. I mean, this reminds me kind of like the Needles. Look how amazing this is. I'm going to do a little selfie in the arch. Is that good? We came off the trail to see the Queen Victoria. What am I supposed to be looking at?
Yeah. Anyone you want, really.
That one looks like it has a crown. That one right there, doesn't it look like a crown?
It does. It also looks like a glass of iced tea. Because that's what I want right now.
Oh, that's great. Alright, so this is beautiful. I think we're getting pretty close to the top, but this bus load of people must have just gotten off and they're all going the wrong way. But anyway, it's beautiful. I'm out of breath, but I'd say this is my fourth best hike. So we made it back to the top, but we still have to walk along the rim to the left to get back to where we started, or where we parked, which is supposed to be the starting point, but a lot of people are going backwards. This is the Wall Street part of the Navajo Trail, and they had a big rain and lots of damage, so they've closed it off. They're down there working on it. It looks really steep. But we're at an hour and 20 minutes. It said 2 to 3 hours to do the hike, so we do have to walk around the rim. So I'm guessing we'll be about an hour 40 minutes. So that's not bad. It's gorgeous. Oh, the breeze feels good with my head off. Alright, it's way too crowded here. It's beautiful. So we're gonna go change clothes because it's warmed up and we're hot after walking, and head to lunch. We made it to IDK Barbecue, and I'll just show you what it looks like inside real quick. It's a very simple place, but the food was excellent. So we came back to Bryce City to be touristy and just kind of look at some of the stores, see what's here. Gift shop, rock shops, fossils, petrified wood. The jail. So Ruby's is popular. There's the inn and the restaurant. And then we have a general store. Across the street everything was closed. They don't open until noon, so we came over here, look around. Made it to the Red Canyon Visitor Center. Look at all this Red Canyon off to my right. It's pretty cool.
After getting some park info at the visitor center, we decided to drive into the town of Pingwich and do some errands before returning to the park. Our first stop was a Napa auto store for some oil and def. Next stop was the hardware store for a small electric heater because it was 41 degrees last night and our diesel heater stopped working. We are at 9,000 altitude, and our cheap Chinese heater we bought does not adjust well to altitude to compensate for low oxygen levels at this height. Luckily, we found a little heater that would help us for the rest of the trip. Next, we stopped at the local liquor store, and it turned out to be a great choice because they had a wonderful selection of local beers and ciders. And the guy even helped carry our stuff to the car. Finally, before we left town, we hit the grocery store for our last few items that we were missing. I have to say that people in this town were super nice and helpful. I would highly recommend stopping here. After our errands were completed, we drove back to Red Canyon. The rangers there were super nice at the visitor center, and they told us about the Pink Ledges Trail and gave us an interpretive guide which would give us stops along the way.
Look how beautiful. We're on the Red Legends Trail, and it's got a lot of gravel on it, but we've got one hiking stick on this one. And even across the street is pretty. It's got little voodoo-y kind of things over there. And then, of course, behind me is where we've got the, I think they call them Twin Towers or Twin Hoodoos. And that's pretty cool. And here's the camel. You can see it down there. It does look, that rock looks just like a camel. It's cool.
In the next video, we visit Cedar Breaks National Monument, Kodachrome Canyon, which is part of Zion National Park, Snow Canyon State Park, which surprises us, and we make it as far west as we go on this trip to Valley of the Fire in Nevada.